San Giovanni Rotondo, southern Italy. A desolate, wind-swept mountain town that for 50 years held a secret. Inside the friary walls lived a man who carried the physical wounds of the crucifixion on his hands and feet. Padre Pio. But the stigmata wasn't his most terrifying gift. It wasn't the healings. It wasn't the bilocation. The thing that made grown men tremble before they even entered his confessional was something else entirely. It was the cardiognosis, the ability to read hearts. He didn't just hear your confession. He saw your soul. He saw the rot you hid from your wife. He saw the sins you buried in the dark. He saw the true state of your existence as if you were made of glass. And because of this X-ray vision, he saw something that should scare every single religious person watching this right now. He saw a man we will call Lorenzo. Lorenzo was perfect. Lorenzo was devout. Lorenzo never missed a Sunday. And yet, when Padre Pio looked at him, he didn't see a saint. He saw a tragedy. He saw a soul that had been going to church for decades, yet remained completely, devastatingly dead. This is the story of that vision. And it's a warning, because you might be Lorenzo. Let's reconstruct the scene. Imagine a man who has mastered the art of appearance. Lorenzo wasn't a criminal. He wasn't a scandal. In the eyes of the village, he was the gold standard, a pillar. His routine was clockwork. The suit is pressed. The shoes are polished until they reflect the ceiling. He walks through the church doors exactly 10 minutes before the bell rings. He walks down the aisle, chin up, solemn expression, and takes his seat. Third pew from the front, right-hand side. Every single week, he knew the choreography of the Mass better than he knew the back of his own hand. Stand, sit, kneel, strike the breast, sign of the cross. His movements were fluid, practiced, automatic. When the collection basket came around, he didn't hesitate. He dropped in a generous amount, making sure people saw his piety. If you asked his neighbors, they would say, "We need more men like Lorenzo. Look at his dedication. Look at his discipline." He was the guy you wanted on your parish council. He was the guy you pointed to when you told your kids how to behave. By every external metric we have, attendance, posture, donation, vocal participation, Lorenzo was saved. He was safe. But religion isn't a performance art. And God doesn't audit your attendance record. He audits your heart. While Lorenzo was performing his weekly ritual, Padre Pio was watching a completely different reality. You have to understand how Pio experienced the Mass. To him, the Mass wasn't a ceremony. It wasn't a remembrance. It was a nuclear event. Witnesses say that during the consecration, Pio's face would transform. He would weep. He would sweat. He would stare at the altar with a look of absolute terror and absolute love. Why? Because the veil was gone. He saw the roof of the church ripped open. He saw the altar surrounded by legions of angels, trembling in awe. He saw the Virgin Mary standing beside him. He wasn't in Italy anymore. He was suspended outside of time, standing at the foot of Calvary, watching the sacrifice of Christ happen in real time. So, place these two realities side by side. On the left, you have the cosmic drama of salvation. Angels, fire, blood, the intersection of heaven and earth. On the right, you have Lorenzo, checking his watch. Padre Pio looked at Lorenzo's soul, and he saw a fortress, a gray, impenetrable fog. The light of the gospel was pouring down from the ambo, a torrential rain of grace meant to soak into the earth and bring forth life. But when that light hit Lorenzo, it just bounced off. His soul was hard. It was polished by years of routine. It was smooth, slippery, and sealed shut. The homily began. The priest spoke of mercy, of judgment, of love. The words were alive, but Lorenzo wasn't listening. He was physically present, eyes fixed on the pulpit, appearing to drink it in. But internally, he was miles away. He was negotiating a business deal. He was replaying an argument with his wife. He was wondering if the pasta would be overcooked by the time he got home. He was a mannequin sitting in a pew. Then came the moment of consecration. The bell rings. The host is raised. For Pio, this is the moment the universe holds its breath. The Creator is physically present. Lorenzo bowed his head. A perfect, practiced 45-degree angle. But his heart didn't bow. There was no awe. No, my Lord and my God. Just a muscle reflex. And then, the most terrifying part of the vision, Holy Communion. Lorenzo walks up the aisle. Hands folded. He opens his mouth. He receives the Eucharist. Padre Pio described communion as a fusion. Fire meeting wood to create a blaze. It is meant to consume you. But when the Eucharist touched Lorenzo's soul, nothing happened. Picture a drop of water falling onto a stone in the dead of winter. The stone is so cold, so dense, that the water doesn't absorb. It doesn't react. It just sits there on the surface, freezing, until it eventually slides off. There was contact, but there was no communion. There was eating, but there was no feeding. Lorenzo walked back to his pew, knelt down, and buried his face in his hands. The picture of thanksgiving. But inside, the room was empty. He had just touched the source of all life in the universe, and he remained exactly as dead as he was an hour ago. He walked out of the church, shook the priest's hand, and went home. Duty done. Box checked. Soul unchanged. This is the nightmare scenario. To be so close to the fire that you could reach out and touch it, and yet freeze to death. So what was wrong with him? He wasn't a heretic. He wasn't an atheist. He was suffering from something the Desert Fathers called acedia. We translate this as sloth, but that's a terrible translation. We think sloth means being lazy, lying on the couch watching Netflix. That's not acedia. You can be a workaholic and have acedia. You can be busy every second of the day and have acedia. Acedia is spiritual listlessness. It is a sorrow of the heart. It is a boredom with the divine. It's the voice in your head that says, I know all this already. Nothing new here. Let's just get it over with. Lorenzo had immunized himself against God. He had taken small doses of religion, just enough to make him feel respectable, just enough to soothe his conscience, but never enough to actually catch the disease. He never let it kill his ego. He never let it change his life. He treated God like a landlord. You pay your rent on Sunday morning, you follow the building rules, and in exchange, the landlord leaves you alone for the rest of the week. That is not a relationship. That is a contract. And heaven has no place for contract workers. Padre Pio once said, "It is easier for the earth to exist without the sun than without the holy sacrifice of the Mass." He meant that literally. The Mass is the gravity holding reality together. To treat it like a weekly chore is a form of insanity. Now stop. Turn the camera around. This isn't about Lorenzo. This is about you. This is about me. How many times have you walked into Mass, dipped your finger in the holy water, and made the sign of the cross without even thinking about the Trinity? How many times have you recited the Creed, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, while thinking about your email inbox? How many times have you walked up to communion like you were waiting in line at the DMV? The story of Lorenzo is a mirror. It forces us to ask, is my faith a habit, or is it a hunger? Habit says, I have to go. Faith says, I get to go. Habit is about safety. Faith is about surrender. If you are realizing right now that you've been sleepwalking, if you feel that chill of recognition, don't panic. The fact that you feel it means you aren't dead yet. The stone isn't frozen solid. Padre Pio didn't share these insights to condemn us. He shared them to wake us up. He wants to shatter the glass case we've built around our hearts. So how do we break the spell of acedia? How do we stop being Lorenzo? You don't need to become a monk. You don't need to move to a monastery. You need to do 3 small, violent things to disrupt your routine. Number 1, the preparation strike. The Mass doesn't start when the priest walks in. It starts in the car. It starts in the parking lot. Most of us rush in, adrenaline pumping, mind chaotic, and expect to instantly connect with God. It's impossible. You need an airlock. Arrive 10 minutes early. Sit in the silence and pray this specific prayer. Lord, scare me. Wake me up. Don't let me be a spectator today. Intentionality kills routine. Number 2, the mental fight. When your mind wanders, and it will, don't just let it drift. Fight back. When the priest elevates the host, use your imagination. Visualize what Pio saw. See the blood. See the cross. Force your mind to acknowledge the reality in front of you. When you say amen, say it like you are signing a contract with your life. Mean the words. Feel the vibration of them in your chest. Number 3, the aftermath. The most dangerous moment is immediately after Mass. We tend to rush out, turn on the radio, and purge the grace we just received. Stop. Stay for 3 minutes. You just became a living tabernacle. God is inside you. Don't treat him like a passenger you're trying to kick out of the car. Sit with him. Thank him. Let the water soak into the stone. The warning of Padre Pio is clear. You can be in the holiest place on earth and remain in hell. You can touch the hem of his garment and feel nothing. God doesn't want your attendance. He doesn't want your money. He doesn't want your perfect posture. He wants the only thing you have that he doesn't possess. Your will. Your heart. Next Sunday, when you walk through those doors, don't be Lorenzo. Don't be the man who tricked himself. Walk in expecting an encounter. Walk in ready to be burned. Because if you aren't changing, you aren't living. If this wake-up call hit home for you, click subscribe. We are building a community of people who are tired of going through the motions. And in the comments, I want you to write one word: awake. Let that be your commitment for this Sunday.